Hello and welcome. I am Raziel, and so this is a kind of a two-parter. Not really, but it's two videos about the Golden Throne, and the first one is about how the Golden Throne seems to be a good endgame and benefits Chaos more than the Imperium. Right? Okay. So the Emperor ascending to the Golden Throne makes him a god, makes him a central focal point for the society of the Imperium, and everyone worships him. However, on a larger spectrum, it seems to be benefiting Chaos even more. Okay, so first things first. The Imperium is at constant war. This is obviously very much good, very good for Khorne. And so we have war constantly. Khorne is getting stronger because of constant warfare. So he is very much he's a beneficiary of this. Now, with war, obviously comes lots of death, and with lots of death comes lots of diseases. And I mean, if you look at stories of World War One, you'll know that disease was rife during the trenches, and in World War Two, say like during the Blitzkrieg and stuff like that. Again, disease was phenomenally high because dead bodies, well, they rot, and with that becomes diseases, comes rats, comes everything else that Nurgle would enjoy. So again, Nurgle's getting stronger because his disease are being spread inadvertently by the Imperium and the dead bodies. This is kind of where you see a lot of dead bodies in the Imperium getting destroyed by fire rather than being buried, because that kind of sterilizes it anyway. And with that as well, we have Tzeentch, because you have all the politicizing, the power plays, the backstabbing to gain power in the Imperium, just so they can get more, infamy or more famous, whichever way you want to look at it. So he is scheming because more schemes are happening just to get power in the Imperium. We see the politics in that during the Beast Arises, and you see how it works. And finally, Slaanesh and debauchery. When people are in bad situations, debauchery can get kind of worse. People turn to drugs, alcohol, and other forms of excesses to numb their senses to get, through the day. And that obviously leads to how Slaanesh is benefiting. But it's even more prevalent, that word, than that. See, when I was looking at this, I was looking at the Primarchs and their Chaos Gods, and it's kind of weird how Tzeentch got his first pick. Khorne wanted the Blood Angels. Blood Angels were very warlike. Yeah, the World Eaters were too, but we've got to understand the World Eaters of the Warhounds were very berserk. They were very ferocious. Khorne prefers a less bad sort of war than a more tactical sort of war where people will go berserk, but they can still think for themselves, because this way the massacres can be directly linked to him. Where you will get Khorne berserkers going Khorne, blood for blood god, skulls for skull throne, but usually they're not in any frame of mind to actually praise Khorne at the same time. So it doesn't gain as much power as it could do, where a free thinking mortal praising Khorne while butchering and still being of clear mind, that would be far better for Khorne. I mean, yeah, he likes his berserkers, obviously with bloodletters, bloodthirsters and all that lot. But when it comes to mortals, a free-thinking mortal is always better for a Chaos God. It's why, if you read any of the lore, you always see that the mortal champions are considered a higher level than the, demon Primarchs. This is very much shown in the Plague War book, when Typhus literally says to Mortarion, Nurgle thinks of me higher than you, and it is because he's a mortal. That means his praise is by choice. Unlike Mortarion being a demon Primarch, he has no choice in the matter. He is a slave. And of course Nurgle wanted the Iron Warriors because they were pretty tough, and again, it's why it was. And Slaanesh probably wanted anyone but the Emperor's children. So Tzeentch getting his first pick, Magnus and the Thousand Sons, is quite an interesting play, because when you remember that Magnus was meant to go on the Golden Throne. It seems like he wanted Magnus to be taken away from that option. He didn't want Magnus on the Golden Throne. He wanted someone else there. So having Magnus under him means Magnus was no longer an option to use the Golden Throne, and therefore be the Astronomicon. So, and that's the interesting part. And of course there was the scheme of Horus that changed the Space Wolves from arrest Magnus to kill Magnus. Again, this feels very Tzeentchian to have that little swap of orders. Now, going back to the Emperor now, when the Emperor took on Horus, he was underpowered. He wasn't as powerful as Horus. Little thing that a lot of people don't realise or may not even know. When the Emperor took the power of the Chaos Gods, he only took the power of 3 Chaos Gods. Slanesh wasn't born at this time. Slanesh was born at the very start of the Great Crusade. We know this because when the Eye of Terror opened up, it blew away the warp storms that allowed the Great Crusade to happen. The Emperor had obviously made his pacts by then, but the Primarch project was finished, the Astartes project was done, it was all done. And of course the Primarchs were swept away. I mean, Astartes apparently did this. But again, having Primarchs taken away seems like another power play by Chaos to make sure that the Emperor couldn't have the Primarchs under him, to have them more loyal to him and have them think for themselves or have any form of upbringing that could make them question the Emperor. The Emperor needed them so they wouldn't have any external influence on how they thought or how they grew up and their upbringing. And so we go back to Magnus. Magnus being part of the second most powerful Psyker after the Emperor, of course, being on the Astronomicon would have meant the Emperor would have been able to go around the galaxy, marching, doing his thing, and everything else. So when Magnus was taken out of the picture, someone else would have to step up, and there was going to be no one else as powerful or powerful enough to do it. Malcador gave it his good old college try, but that ended up killing him. Now, where was I? So when that happened, and Magnus was quote unquote killed, that was taken off the table. So then we get to the Siege of Terror. Now at the Siege of Terror, Horus obviously lowered his shield. This isn't a spoiler for the book, this is common knowledge. The Emperor and Horus fought. The Emperor got badly beaten. Horus died. But like I said, Horus had the power of 4 Chaos Gods, the Emperor had the power of 3. Slanesh would have been the extra bit that Horus would have needed to kill the Emperor. But the Emperor killed him. That's that. Even being probably slightly weaker. I haven't finished reading the Death and the End yet. I actually haven't read any of it yet. I'm only going by the old Codex laws here because I'm still waiting on the paperback to come out for the Siege of Terror. It ended at Warhawk and there's no more after that. That is disgusting. Seriously. Anyway, so the Emperor killed Horus, but he was so brutally wounded and mortally wounded, I should say, he ended up on the Golden Throne. Now, how does this benefit Chaos? Well, the Emperor was the only real adversary to Chaos. He was the one that was basically stopping them. And he couldn't die. Chaos knew he couldn't die. Those wounds probably would have healed eventually. They would have, he would have recovered, and he could have got up and started ruling the galaxy again. They needed to stop this. And if you've got someone who is invincible, you need to sort of put him on pause. And the best way to do that, have it to seem to be the Imperium's idea to have him put on the Golden Throne and the Astronomicon. With Zinj, it has to be said there is no such thing as a coincidence. It is all planned. Every part of it is planned. So now we have the Emperor on the Golden Throne, and he is in a semi-stasis state, so he's not even healing properly. So he can't. It seems like he is healing, but not at the same time. So now he's out of it, the Chaos Gods can do what they want, and now we see that's happening. See, everyone, I know people are going to say, what about Abaddon? Abaddon, obviously, is a major problem in the Imperium side, but it seems to be more of a distraction or a diversion for the Imperium than, an actual threat. Abaddon is hated by the Chaos Gods. He hates the Chaos Gods and they hate him, and this is shown in the book Talon of Horus. And the reason for this is he's a massive Chaos champion. He is in charge of the biggest legion. He can demand anything from even the other Primarchs themselves. But he has never ascended to full demonhood, and that is what Chaos wants. Demonhood brings slavery. Abaddon's not a slave. He is not. So while he's running, diversionary, means Chaos can continue doing what they need to do to maintain their growth. Make sure there's more war, make sure there's more schemes, make sure there's more disease, and make sure there's more debauchery. And that's what it is. And if the Emperor was, up and about doing what he's doing, that would have probably put to a stop. Abaddon would have been stopped the wars would have probably come to an end because the Great Crusade would have continued on afterwards, even if he only had half the Primarchs, well, not even half the Primarchs at this point, well, a quarter of the Primarchs, to continue on with him. And then that's the final part of this. When the Emperor ascended to the Golden Throne, the Chaos-affiliated Primarchs went into the Eye of Terror. While they were still very much divided, they were still had a common singular goal: destroy the Imperium. There are reasons why can differ between Legion and Legion. However, they did have a single goal, but they were up and about and doing stuff. This is old lore as well. Like anyone who remembers like Epic before Imperialis would know that they all had models for Epic: Magnus, Mortarion, Fulgrim. Well, all four of those did, because I can't remember the other, like Patuavo or Lorga did, but yeah, Fulgrim, Mortarion, Angron, and Magnus all had models. I even had a Magnus model, so they were up and about doing stuff. The Loyalist Primarchs, they disappeared. Robote Guilliman, well, he had his throat cut and he was put in stasis. Sanguinius was died. Wogadorn maybe died. Jacadai Khan, he left. No one knows what happened to Vulcan, but the Loyal Primarchs were they basically separated. So there was no longer a cohesive war command for the Imperium. It became very divided. And that was pretty much before the Codex Astartes. And that divided it even more. Once again, playing into helping Chaos. Yes, I can understand where Guilliman was coming from. He didn't want another heresy. He wanted that, that if one chapter turned, it was easier to defeat them than if one legion turned. So there you go. This is my thoughts on the Golden Throne, and was it a plan of Chaos? I honestly think it was. It seems to be very much that way, because once I said the Emperor was taken out of the picture and couldn't no longer unify the Imperium under his banner, and the Imperium became very divided, meant that, yeah, Chaos was winning this. And they are still very successful now. The Imperium's divided in two, well, quite literally, by the Cicatrix Maledictum. Yeah, Cicatrix Maledictum. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. What do you think? Do you think this was Chaos's plan, or do you think it's all just one big coincidence? And thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the one picture. It's the Golden Throne. There's not many pictures of that, so you just got the one picture of Golden Throne throughout this video. It's not laziness. It's just that's it. And yeah, links to Wayland Games down below as always. If you want to support the channel, you get free delivery after £20 and up to 20% off your Warhammer and Games Workshop goods. Forbidden Planet, if you like comics, manga, DVDs, toys, plushies, all that fun geeky stuff. Get some Spawn. I really am enjoying Spawn, man. Read Scorch. Scorch, so good. Has my favourite Spawn in it, Medieval Spawn. My comic, if you want to see Red Riding Hood, smash up some cyborg werewolves with a massive axe. And finally, my merchandise, t-shirts, comics, stickers, blah blah. You know the deal. Everyone else does it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you very much for it. Like I said, next one is about the Golden. Next theory video is about the Golden Throne again, but it's not about Chaos. Anyway, bye bye.